Action. Hello, I'm Chris Shelton, coming from partly sunny San Jose, California, the heart of Silicon Valley. Happy Nowruz, which is Persian New Year. Happy spring equinox and happy full moon. For those of you that like to moon somebody or just enjoy watching and gazing at the full moon. Anyways, what we're talking about here is the earth, the wood element, which relates to the springtime. And so what is the wood element? Well, let me tell you, the wood element relates to your liver and gallbladder, and your liver and gallbladder controls so many different things. And we understand the physiology of what the liver is mainly structured to do, but it really has like over 500 functions, and there are so many different types of dysfunctions. Number one, first and foremost, if during the springtime you're somebody who gets allergies, seasonal allergies, that's your body's way of knocking on your back door that there's liver dysfunction. So right now, the liver is most active, most prone to disease, and each of the 5 major organs of the body, your liver, your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, and your spleen, are all affected by different emotions, but also guess what? They're also affected by different climatic conditions. During the springtime, it tends to be windier, so the wind will affect the liver and the gallbladder. And conditions like, for example, like Bell's palsy, when the person all of a sudden is paralyzed on the side of the face, what's happened is that there's a liver dysfunction, it's lying dormant, then all of a sudden they go out into the wind, and guess what? They're actually paralyzed on one side of the face and or body. So the liver doesn't like wind. It also does not like greasy, fatty, or fried foods. So the gallbladder aids in being able to assimilate the fats. Both the liver and the gallbladder love to be able to help the stomach in digestion. But if you eat a lot of fatty foods, if you eat processed foods, if you eat sugar, those types of things, then what will happen is that you can actually congest the bile ducts and actually create congestion within the liver and the gallbladder. So when we talk about congestion of the liver, what does that even look like? Well, number one, what it looks like is that a person will tend to have a lot of anger, will get agitated easily. In fact, going back to wind, if you're somebody who is sensitive to touch and is also sensitive to the wind, meaning doesn't like the wind, whether it's artificial or it's natural wind, then that's a sign, the body's way of saying that, you know what, this liver is full. So it's like a cup. This liver loves to process toxins, but at a certain point, the cup gets full. And then when we start to see seasonal allergies, like in the springtime, what's happening is that it's the same thing that's going on in nature. So during winter, what happens? Everything goes back inward. It's a time of decline, goes back inward. And then in springtime, what happens is we have now everything starts to blossom, everything starts to bloom. So as the flowers start to bloom and everything starts to blossom, guess what? If you have anything lying dormant inside your liver, it's also going to start to come out. And yes, they will call it hay fever. You go in and get a test and you see all the different things you're allergic to. But really, if you were to look at your stomach, spleen, and liver network and were to adjust that through Qigong and some dietary tips I'm going to give here today, and possibly even some herbs, but consult your doctor first, then you could actually help to ward off allergies. You know, for myself, before I started practicing Qigong, I used to suffer from allergies twice a year. One time a year during the Indian summer months, which is around September, October, and then also in the springtime. And so I lived on over-the-counter medications, Sudafed, Actifed, all those types of things. And then after practicing Qigong for about a year, guess what? Those symptoms actually went away. So what about this liver? Well, the liver is affected by the negative emotions of anger, frustration, rage, resentment, hatred, and old anger. And if that old anger is held on to for a long period of time, guess what? It actually turns into sorrow. And when we have the sorrow, then it actually turns into depression. So the difference in my world from when I see clients as opposed to maybe if you saw your physician for depression, you know, they're going to want to treat the mind, which then affects your viscera or your internal organs. Whereas in my world, what happens is that we go after working with the liver network, which then affects your heart, which then affects your mind. So there's a different way of physiology, looking at the physiology of the human being, but it's very accurate. Over 5,000 years of study on the body is so accurate that when we see clients in clinic, we actually see dramatic changes just from them adjusting their diet, doing some Qigong practices, and maybe some general herbs. So when we're talking about anger, because anger is such a big emotion. Now, a lot of people will say to me, Chris, you know, anger is a great emotion to have, and there's whole books written on anger. Where does your anger come from? Well, yes, I agree with you. If your anger is meant to be what it's supposed to be, which is to be utilized to create change, positive change in the world, to fight for the underdog, to get yourself out of a bad situation, or to do something creative, then guess what? That anger is doing its job. But if that anger is causing you to become depressed, causing migraines, causing menstrual problems, causing digestive problems, causing you road rage or you're flipping people the bird and cutting them off, then you know what? That anger is not serving you anymore. Okay, so, but also it's not only the anger that we have for ourselves, it's what also people project onto us. How many haters are there out there? There's a lot of haters, that's for sure. And so when people project their hate or their anger towards you, guess what? That can affect you too. So what can we do about this? Well, the secret art, or the ancient art, not a secret art, but the ancient art of Fung Shui is a simple task in order to help to ward off and the stresses from not only within ourselves, but maybe projected onto us too. So generally speaking, everybody is a certain typology, which means that a certain organ actually governs them. And so if you're a wood type like I am, that means the liver and the gallbladder govern me. So if I'm deficient in my wood element, meaning I'm weak in there, then that also could indicate disease as well too. So each of us is a primary element type, and we're supposed to be, wood people are supposed to be natural leaders. I mean, good police officers, good military people, good business owners, great athletes, because they use that wood element, that liver energy, in order to create constructive change and to do things that are constructive. They have the energy and the will in order to see things through. Now, if there's a deviation from that typology, meaning that the person's inert, not standing their ground, not being in a position of leadership, then that actually can be a sign that your liver is dysfunctional. So Feng Shui wise, what's great is in my book, Qigong for Self-Refinement, Total Health with the 5 Elements, at the very back end of the book, there's a 5-element questionnaire. And this 5-element questionnaire will tell you not only what your predominant element type is, but also what your deficient element type is. So generally speaking, Feng Shui wise, the color green is associated with the liver and the gallbladder. The direction of east is associated with the liver and the gallbladder. So what you want to do, if you know that you're deviating from, if you know that you're a wood type, but you're not expressing yourself fully like a wood person should, or you're not being creative like a wood person should be, then you put the head of the bed in the east. Also, if you're deficient in wood too. So if you take the quiz and you find out that your liver and your gallbladder is actually your deficiency, then in order to bring that up, you can actually put the head of the bed in the east, have colored green, like wear the color green. And if you have an aversion to the color green, that's kind of like your body's way of saying, listen, there's actually a dysfunction here. Some people that just love green too much could actually indicate an excess. So live plants are always best in Feng Shui, but if you can't have a live plant, having a faint plant, just that idea of having that wood energy, so plants, trees, flowers, those kinds of things, these all help to work with your wood to help to build up this wood energy inside the body, and also help you during this transitional season when we're going into the spring months. Other things too, sculpture-wise, is that you can have sculptures of like rectangle candles, for example, or you could have sculptures that are just rectangular blocks. Pictures of trees and forests and plants would also be beneficial to you as well too. They say that the green dragon is also associated with the liver and in the eastern direction too. So I don't know if you could find a green dragon painting or drawing and hang that up on your wall. That could also bring up your wood typology or pull you back into balance. So Feng Shui, though, only accounts for about 20% of your being. So what does that mean? That means that you still have to work on yourself. You still have to cultivate yourself. You still have to have a healthy lifestyle habit. You still have to eat well, get enough rest, and make sure that you're doing internal practices like Qigong or Tai Chi in order to harmonize all the energies inside your body. Now, generally speaking, when we look at food, now what can we do as a detox? I myself am not a big fan of cleanses that will cause you to have things come out of both ends of your body. I think it's a little bit too drastic. And if you decide to do something like that, then I suggest talking with your physician or acupuncturist and really make sure that you're being well educated and guided through the process. But a very gentle detox that I do every single morning is I start off the day with a small glass, like a 4-ounce glass of hot water. In this 4 ounce glass of hot water, I squeeze a whole lime into there. So I squeeze a whole lime into there. And on top of that, what I do too is I actually will put a teaspoon of coconut oil in there in order to help to break down cholesterol. So we have cholesterol in our arteries, but guess what? Gallstones and kidney stones are also a form of cholesterol too. So by doing the hot water on an empty stomach before you have your tea, coffee, you eat anything, 4 ounce glass of hot water and a full lemon or lime, and then a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of coconut oil is a gentle detox. So there's a lot of talk right now about celery juice and how good celery juice is for you. And so, celery itself is cooling in nature. And what it does is it helps to strengthen the spleen in the stomach. It helps to nurture the liver and the gallbladder. And in particular, what it does is it actually helps to detoxify the liver and the gallbladder, and causes you to bark like a dog every now and then. Actually, that's my alter ego. It actually helps you to detoxify your liver and gallbladder of heavy toxins and metals. So just a very simple remedy to do, for the liver is to drink celery juice, in particular warm celery juice. If you have other medical conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, certain types of insomnia, well, guess what? This darn liver here plays a role in your high blood pressure, plays a role in your diabetes, and if you're waking up between the hours of 11 p.m. and 3 a.m., guess what? This darn liver is also playing a role in it. So a general remedy for high blood pressure is to drink 3 cups of warm, gently boiled celery juice. So 3 times a day, so not 3 cups all at once, but 3 cups throughout the day. If you have diabetes, you know what? You could do the same thing. So some gently boiled warm celery juice. You can drink that throughout the day. You could also take celery, pumpkin, and yams, and you could actually make a little pie, a veggie pie out of that. And this will actually help with your diabetes. And if you have insomnia, what you could do is you could go ahead and take celery and beet tops, boil them together, and drink 2 hours before going to bed. 2 hours, and you do this every single night. And this what will do is it help to calm the spirit, it help to cool the body down, and help you to close your eyes, and so hopefully you'll sleep better. Now another gentle remedy food that I really love. I'm a big fan of beets. I love beets, and it's not just the Michael Jackson song "Beat It, Just Beat It." Woo! I actually love beets. Beets are really good for strengthening the heart. They're also good for liver detox, especially if you drink too much alcohol or do too much drugs. It's really good for anemia. It's also really good for chronic constipation. So if you're somebody who suffers from chronic constipation, guess what? Beets are a good way to help to get things moving along. Why is that? Because beets actually help to lubricate the intestines. The other thing that beets do too is they possess something, bless you, they possess something called nitric oxide, and nitric oxide is naturally found in beets. And so, in other words, what it does is it helps put oxygen into the blood, which is really good for you. So if you're an athlete and you want something that's more sports performing, then what you do is you go ahead and add more beets to your diet. Because the other thing too is that the beets also help to nourish blood, and ultimately your blood is your chi. So we have a saying that the blood contains the chi, and the chi moves the blood around the body. So beets are really good. So a simple thing that you could do to help to gently detoxify the liver is you could go ahead and boil beet tops with dandelion flowers and drink that as a tea. You could also make yourself a veggie broth with beets, carrot tops, asparagus, yam, and pumpkin, and make that into a pie and eat that. That also will help to regulate and gently detoxify the liver and the gallbladder. And generally speaking, if you are having problems, like I said before, with sleeping, then what you do is you go ahead and you just add the beet juice with the celery juice. And this will help you go to sleep and also help to detoxify the liver, because the energy properties of the celery is cooling in nature. So if your liver we call liver yang rising or liver fire rising, where the face is red, the eyes might be red, you have a hard time closing your eyes at night, this liver energy is way too congested, so it helps to move things along. So 3 very simple remedies that you get for gentle cleansing and detox. Another thing, going back to Feng Shui, I suggest you do is spring cleaning. So spring cleaning is not only adjusting your environment and cleaning and to what your element typology is, but it's also making sure that you get rid of the old and make way for the new. And also, last month I talked a lot about relationships. That means relationships too. Get rid of those toxic relationships that cause this darn liver to stagnate. Now, if you know that you're somebody who has a lot of pent up anger, a lot of resentment, stuck in your head, or feeling depressed, don't want to get out of bed, low energy. Now, there's an herbal formula you can do. This is a traditional formula. And this formula is great. It's called Free and Easy Wonder. Now, once again, please talk to your primary healthcare provider before taking any herbal supplements or your acupuncturist to make sure that in order to make sure that this is safe for you. Generally speaking, there should be no contraindications. What this formula does is that it has an herb in there called bluprum. Now, bluprum in Chinese herbology is found in many different types of herbal formulas. And if you're somebody, for example, who has a cold or flu, gets better, and then 2 weeks later is sick again, gets better, 3 weeks later is sick again, guess what? That liver and that cold or that virus is actually circulating around in the liver, and this is why it keeps on popping up back up again. And so there's actually a formula called minor bluprum decoction that actually helps to push the flu or the virus out of the system. So in this formula here, what it's known for is known to help to release Constrain Chi. So if you're angry and frustrated and irritated all the time, chances are people, their ligaments are tight, their nervous system is on heightened alert, and so not only does the ligaments and everything get congested, but then guess what? The blood and the chi of the liver gets congested and constrained as well too. And this is what further creates anxiety. This is what further creates depression. This is what further creates agitation. So if you're seeing that you're getting agitated really easily, this might be a simple formula to take. But once again, please talk with your healthcare practitioner, primary healthcare practitioner, before taking any herbal supplements, especially if you're taking any other medications. So what else can we do in order to cleanse our liver for this spring, for Nuruz, for this spring equinox? Well, the other thing we could do, obviously, is Qigong. And this is my favorite practice because it's something you could take with you anywhere. You don't need a special mat, you don't need special clothing, and it's so simple to do. And what I love about it, these two practices that I'm going to give you right now, is you can do it from a seated position. So if you're somebody who's in a wheelchair, you can do it from a seated position. If you're somebody who has like lupus or any other, autoimmune disease where you can't lift your arms because of pain, you could actually visualize it in your head. Creative visualization is so powerful. I had a client years ago that had lupus, and he wasn't able to lift his arms to do any of these movements. But what he did was he mentally visualized them every single day. So I taught him how to do it. He would practice them every day, and guess what? A few years later, it took us a couple years, but he was able to dissolve the lupus by himself. Okay, so one of them is the liver move itself, and the way we're going to do this. Now, our liver is a big organ and works with our gallbladder, and like I said, it also connects with our nervous system. It also connects with our tendons, ligaments, and sinews, and it also connects with your eyes too. So if you have floaters or flowery vision, that's a liver dysfunction, probably from you holding on to too much anger. And it's not a yeast infection. I hear so many people out there saying, "Oh, you have yeast, and that's the reason for the floaters." No, deal with your anger, and those floaters should go away. One way to do that is you go ahead and do the liver move. So from here, I'm going to press. I'm going to squeeze through the midsection. So as I'm bring my hands through the midsection, turning this ball over, it's like I'm wringing out the organ. Now, if you want to make this into a more powerful practice, then what you would go ahead and do is you would extend the ligaments of the hands as I press, and then also widen the eyes as well too, because again, the ligaments and the tendons and the eyes are all influenced by the liver and the gallbladder network. And we're focusing on the negative emotions of anger, frustration, rage, and resentment. All right, very simple practice to do. And to make this into more of a mindfulness practice, the color green is associated with the liver. So you imagine a green cloud filling up into the right side of the body. And then as you exhale, focusing on a past or a present situation that creates anger, hatred, hostility, or frustration for you. Is it a person? Is it a situation? Is it what's going on with our planet, in our environment? Whatever it may be, feel it. Who's involved? What's involved? And then as you exhale, pushing that anger away like a dark cloud, going several feet away from the body and down deep into the ground. So once again, you can do this from a seated position, but if you are standing, if you're noticing here, I'm also using my legs to help to pump the blood. Our liver meridian actually starts in the inner part of the base of the big toenail, and it comes up through the inner aspect of the legs and circles around the groin. And actually, liver 13 comes up right here, the free floating rib. Say that 10 times real fast. And then ends here at liver 14 underneath the breast or the nipple region. Okay, and so you could actually imagine a green cloud filling up into that acupuncture meridian. And these acupuncture meridians are bilateral, both sides of the body. Now, your gallbladder during this time of year, if it's deficient, then one of the things that will come up for you is indecisiveness. So if you're indecisive, stuck, that's also a sign that there is a dysfunction going on with this liver and gallbladder. Now, as we do the movement, the breathing is through the nose. And technically speaking, if I would just stop talking for 5 seconds, the tip of the tongue would be straight up on the roof of the mouth behind the teeth. My wife is always telling me that my man sure likes to talk. So the tip of the tongue is straight up on the soft palate of the roof of the mouth. And again, I'm focusing on the green cloud coming in, pushing out the anger, the hatred, the frustration, the resentment. And when I do this, guess what? Then the positive virtue of kindness and acceptance and inclusion comes in when we let go of that anger. All right? So I hear people say to me, I need to hold on to this anger because I had so-and-so do this to me, or I had this situation come up. And they think that it's there as a reserve for when those situations come up again, or that person comes around again, to be able to be ready, to be able to attack. And in reality, it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve you at all. So letting go of the resentments is of utmost importance, because it does not serve you, and all it does is create disease. Okay, and then we're going to do this one more time. Pull the energy into the liver, pushing down, and then we're going to finish by pulling down the heavens 3 times. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling. Just imagine the white light coming in. And inhale. And allow this to cool and to cleanse the body. Okay, now the next liver cleansing exercise is called the Shu Sound. And the cool thing about this is that you could do this practice while you're driving in the car. Just make sure your eyes are kept open. And again, what you do is you go ahead and focus on the liver, pull the breath into the liver. And if there's something that has made you angry, has ticked you off, something you're holding on to resentment towards, once again, feel it. Who's involved? What's involved? And then as you inhale, pulling the breath into the liver on the right side of the body, we're going to inhale, feel the anger, feel the resentment, and then doing it audibly at first, exhale, shoo. Now, if you're not driving, you can actually place your hands on your liver to help get the mind intent to go into the liver itself. So I'm going to inhale, shoo. And as I'm exhaling, what I'm doing is I'm imagining that circumstance, that person leaving like a dark cloud, going several feet away from the body and down deep into the ground. Now, what I like to do, honestly, is I like to do the sound underneath my breath. And the cool thing about doing the sound underneath your breath is that you can do it in public. Nobody's going to know what you're doing unless you're standing behind them in line somewhere. Then they're going to think that you're breathing down their neck. But again, you could actually hold onto the liver region, inhaling. And allow for that to leave like a dark cloud, inhaling. And allowing for the positive virtue of kindness, acceptance, and inclusion to come forth. So such a simple practice to do, but it's so amazing, because what you're doing is that we're focused on past or present trauma. I'm asking you to revisit it if it's a past trauma, feel it, who's involved, what's involved. So it's like we're picking out the scab, but by doing the healing sound and or the movement, then you can actually help to release the vibration, which then frees up the liver, allows for the liver blood to move uninterrupted. So, because one of the things that the liver is supposed to do is it's supposed to regulate the flow of blood throughout your body, and like I said, your blood is your energy and your chi. And if there's an impairment of that, then you may seem sluggish. You may get irritable really easily, and those are all warning signs that this liver is affected. If you're somebody who has abdominal distension, bloatedness, and gas, a lot of times the liver and the gallbladder play a role in that as well too. If you have severe constipation, yes, the large intestine, small intestine may play, and the colon may play a role in this, but it also a lot of times has to do with this liver and gallbladder being way too congestion. And I'm really stressing this because of all the emotions I see in my clinical practice. I would say the anger and hatred and resentment, and it really sucks because it seems like there's more hatred out there in the world. I thought we were moving past this, but it seems like it's on a rise once again. So in order to be part of the change, work on your own anger first instead of focusing on what's going on the outside. Come back to yourself, look at yourself in the mirror. How much anger and resentment do you hold on to? How much rage are you holding on to? Because when you hold on to this stuff yourself, it actually vibrationally radiates and it connects with other people that are angry. So what you want to do is you want to take charge of your own life, increase your health, increase your vitality, increase how your body functions, and really pay attention to cleansing your body, and in particular doing these gentle liver cleansing exercises. I talked about, having beet juice or boiled beets with dandelion, a gentle liver cleanse, celery juice, drinking 3 cups of warm celery juice a day. These are gentle cleanses. Drinking a hot glass of water every morning on an empty stomach with a full lime or lemon. And these are very gentle cleanses that you can implement into your life to make sure that you're happy and healthy. And also, one more thing too is eating a lot of green leafy vegetables right now, especially the darker the better. So for myself, one of my favorite drinks to drink, and my wife gags at this, but I love it, is beet, kale, and carrot juice. Oh my God, it's so good for you. It makes my body feel so good. I feel it in the cells. My liver, my heart, my stomach, my spleen, they're like, yay, way to go. Give me more. And yeah, it's just something really good to drink. And it really helps to gently detoxify the body. So just to wrap up here, I am Chris Shelton from, now it's partly sunny San Jose, California. I wish you well. Happy spring equinox. And until next time,